Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a story that honestly feels like it was pulled straight out of a dramatic documentary thriller, but I assure you it is entirely real. We're examining the interrupted journey of Omar Atlan. Imagine, reaching the absolute pinnacle of your career, getting chosen for a role that literally millions of people dream of, only to have the whole thing end abruptly. Not on the soccer pitch, but at a U.S. border checkpoint. This is the unprecedented story of the first Somali referee ever appointed to a World Cup and the sudden, chaotic halt to his historic moment.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this core question right here is exactly what the entire global sporting community is asking right now. How does a FIFA World Cup referee end up deported and in a holding cell before the tournament even begins? On one hand, you've got the high-stakes, meticulously organized environment of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, an event that's all about global unity, right? But on the other hand, you have the stark reality of a referee holding valid documents, suddenly placed in a holding cell, and deported before the first whistle even blows. So how do these two realities collide? Let's break down the facts.
Section 1. A historic World Cup milestone. The rise of Omar Atlan.
To really understand the weight of what happened here, we first have to understand the man at the center of it all. Omar Atlan isn't just a random official. He carries immense professional credibility. He was named Africa's best male referee in 2025, and he actually made FIFA's final list for the tournament just 2 months ago. So he was set to become the very first referee from Somalia to officiate at a World Cup. It's a huge deal. He was officially scheduled to travel to Miami to meet up with his fellow World Cup referees at their dedicated training base. This represented a massive, pride-filled milestone for his entire country. The stage was perfectly set.
Moving on to Section 2, the Miami Airport interrogation, detained at the border.
But, that cinematic journey hit a severe, completely unexpected roadblock. Atlan arrived in Miami on Saturday, fully expecting to join his colleagues. Instead, he was immediately intercepted by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, so the welcoming committee he anticipated was suddenly replaced by federal agents. And just look at that number, 11 hours. That is an incredibly long time to be subjected to an intense vetting process, especially right after an international flight. For 11 long hours at Miami International Airport, Atlan was separated, he was questioned, and highly scrutinized, before eventually being thrown in a holding cell and put on a plane straight back to Istanbul, Turkey, which was his original connecting hub.
So the crucial point is, what exactly were they asking him for nearly half a day? Well, border officials heavily grilled him on his specific reasons for traveling to the United States. They interrogated him about complex Somali politics, and they questioned him regarding the Al-Shabaab militant group, which, as you might know, is currently fighting an insurgency against the Somali government. Now, Atlan reported that he actually showed the officials his official FIFA documentation. He even showed them photos from his established refereeing career on his phone to prove exactly who he was and why he was there. But unfortunately, it was to no avail.
Section 3. Suspected terror ties. The official stance versus the referee.
It is highly unusual for a host country to outright deny entry to a FIFA-appointed match official, which naturally leads to a pretty stark divergence in narratives here. Let's impartially examine exactly what both sides are saying about this incident. According to an anonymous U.S. official who spoke on the condition of anonymity due to visa privacy laws, Atlan was refused admission due to, quote, association with suspected members of terror organizations. Officially, U.S. Customs and Border Protection cited unspecified vetting concerns. Furthermore, Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House FIFA task force, publicly stated that Atlan was denied admittance for a very good reason, though he completely declined to offer any further details on what that reason was.
But let's contrast that with Atlan's perspective. Atlan told the New York Times, and I quote, "I think that they have a problem with my country." He was absolutely adamant that he possessed all the correct documents and a perfectly valid visa. What's particularly striking from his account, though, is that he claims he was never officially told directly by the agents why he was being refused entry and detained. They never gave him a straight answer.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because we need to map out the sheer logistical chaos of those few days. Just last week, his visa was officially issued at the Somalia embassy in Kenya. By Saturday, he touches down in Miami, faces that grueling 11-hour interrogation, is moved to a holding cell, and then deported back through Istanbul. Fast forward to Wednesday morning, and he is stepping off a plane at Aden Ade International Airport back in Mogadishu, Somalia. It is just a total whiplash of events spanning multiple continents in just a matter of days.
Section 4. Broad policy context. New U.S. travel restrictions.
To fully grasp why this happened, we really have to zoom out to the macro level, because this event doesn't just exist in a vacuum. That number right there, 40, is absolutely key here. Somalia is actually one of nearly 40 countries currently subjected to new travel restrictions as part of the Trump administration's broader crackdown on immigration. It's a massive geopolitical shift, and it is directly impacting international travel logistics.
And the ripple effects of that policy? They are vast. This incident is sparking some serious concerns that fans, players, and other sporting officials, particularly those from the affected African nations, might find themselves caught up in this immigration crackdown. The overarching fear is that, much like Omar Atlan, they could be flat-out denied entry for the World Cup, despite going through all of the proper channels and holding perfectly valid visas.
Section 5. A Hero's Welcome. Triumphant Return to Mogadishu.
Yet, despite the cold reality of a Miami holding cell, the scene at Aden Ade International Airport on Wednesday morning was just electric. This was not the return of a defeated man. No way. He was greeted by hundreds of chanting supporters waving flags. He was formally welcomed by the Somalia Minister of Youth and Sports, alongside officials from the Somalia Football Federation. As he disembarked, the crowd actually draped him in the Somali flag, and he was given a full police escort straight to the VIP terminal. Honestly, it was a massive rallying moment.
And this brilliantly illustrates his character. Speaking to the press and his supporters, he didn't even focus on the deportation. He looked forward, stating, "I promise you, God willing, that I will attend the next one. I want the Somali public to take comfort in this and remain confident." He used his platform right then and there to urge Somali youth to remain proud of their country, completely turning a moment of international rejection into a powerful message of national pride. Meanwhile, the Somalia Youth and Sports Ministry has stated that their embassy in the U.S. is still actively trying to resolve the issue. Which leaves us with this really vital question to ponder. How will strict border policies impact the future of global sporting events? The tension between an event like FIFA's World Cup, which, let's be honest, relies entirely on global inclusion and international movement, and a host nation's strict immigration crackdowns is very real. Omar Atlan's interrupted journey is a powerful, real-time case study of exactly what happens when those two worlds collide. Thank you so much for joining me today to unpack the facts behind this historic and highly unusual event.